You're out back on a hot afternoon, going to move a board. A piece of old siding leaned up against the shed or a log off the woodpile, and you reach down, and the ground comes alive. That's the only way I know to say it. The ground comes alive, a hole you never saw right there by your boot, and they come boiling up out of it. Yellowjackets. And here's the thing nobody tells you till it's too late. A yellowjacket is not a honeybee. A honeybee stings you once and dies. A yellowjacket stings you and stings you and stings you again and flies you down across the yard while it does it. Now, a fella called a man out to deal with a nest like that, and the man wanted $700. $700. Friend, there's a bottle under your kitchen sink right now that'll kill that whole nest dead. Cost you about 50 cents of it. But there's one thing about how you use it. One thing, and nobody tells you. Get it wrong, and you're not the one killing the nest. You're the one getting stung 50 times. I'll give you the whole of it. Stay with me. Here's what everybody believes. That a nest of yellowjackets is a job for a professional. A man in a suit, a truck, a tank of poison, and a bill at the end of it. Or, if you're going to do it yourself, you need the pressurized can, the $8 one that sprays 20 feet and runs dry in one go. Here's the twist, neighbor. The thing that kills them isn't poison at all. You don't poison a yellowjacket. You drown it. And drowning them costs about what a squirt of dish soap costs, because a squirt of dish soap is the whole secret. I'm going to give you all of it. How it works, why it works, and the one piece that makes it work instead of putting you in the emergency room. All but that last piece. Not yet. And look, I'm not here to scare you. This isn't doom talk. Yellowjackets have been in folks' yards as long as there's been yards. But ask yourself, a nest opens up by your door tomorrow, right where the kids go in and out. Could you handle it yourself? Tonight? Without calling a man and writing a check for the better part of $1,000? Most folks couldn't. Their grandfathers could have, with a bucket and a thing they had under the sink. That's all this is, not fear. Just not being helpless in your own yard. I'm Elias Mercer. 5th generation on this ridge, North Woods, and my people never left it. Every trick I'm about to lay on this table, my grandfather Amos copied into a leather journal before I was born, and told me plain, more than once, don't let it end with me. Some of what I know came down from him, some from my grandmother Ida, and some, like this one, I worked out my own self, the hard way, a grown man in my own yard. I'll tell you about that part. Now, somebody makes good money on you not knowing this. Course they do. The pest control trade. The shelf of pressurized cans down at the store. There's a whole business built on a nest of wasps being a thing you pay to make go away. But that's no conspiracy, friend. Nobody schemed it. A man with a truck and a license does real work, and he's owed for it. It's just that the 50-cent bottle under your sink doesn't have a salesman. Nobody advertises it. So it got quiet, and the expensive thing got loud. That's all it ever is. Do me one thing before we go on. Tap that subscribe. Not for me, for you. The next one I'm building is carpenter bees, the ones drilling holes in your porch rail right now, and you're gonna want it. So subscribe, and you'll be here. All right, come close. Here's the whole thing in one picture. Get this, and the rest is easy. A yellowjacket don't breathe through its mouth. It breathes through a row of little holes down the sides of its body. Tiny holes. And it stays dry. It's got a waxy coat on it, like a duck's feathers. Sheds water right off. That's why you can't just pour plain water on one and drown it. The water beads up and runs off, and he swims right out and comes after you. They're strong. Stronger than they've got any right to be. Now, What soap does, and this is the whole secret of it, soap breaks the skin on top of the water. There's a skin on water, a tension. You've seen a bug walk on a pond. Soap breaks that. So the water goes thin and slippery, and it soaks in where plain water beads off. It floods those little breathing holes, and it cuts right through that waxy coat. And the yellowjacket drowns in water that he should have walked right out of. The extension folks will back me on this. It's no secret to the people who study bugs. You're not poisoning him, friend. You're drowning him. Hold on to that. Everything from here hangs off it. Now, before you go pour anything anywhere, you read the situation. That's the honest part, and I won't skip it. First, where's the nest? Watch of an evening. If you see them coming and going, steady, from a hole in the ground, a hole in the lawn, under a stump, under that piece of siding, that's a ground nest. And a ground nest you can handle. That's the one this works on. But if they're going up under the eave or into a gap in the siding and you can hear them inside the wall, that's a different animal. Inside a wall, you can't get the water to them, and you can tear your house up trying. And a big aerial nest hanging in a tree 3 stories up, that's not your Saturday either. And here's the one time you stop cold and don't play games with it. If you're allergic, or if you don't know whether you're allergic, you do not do this. You call the man, and you pay him, and you counted money well spent. Same if the nest is monstrous and you've got no bee suit. There's no shame in it. A grown man knowing what not to touch is the whole trade. I mean that. Ground nest, you're not allergic, you can get suited. All right, let's walk it. What you need: a bucket, a 5-gallon if the nest is big, a pitcher if it's small, water, and dish soap, any dish soap. Don't let anybody sell you a special one. The cheapest bottle on the shelf works exactly the same, because it's the soap itself doing it, and they've all got it. A good long slug of it in the bucket, enough that it's good and sudsy. The botch here, folks put in a little dribble of soap like they're washing 1 cup. No, you want it soapy. That's your whole killer. Be generous with it. It's 50 cents. Now, when, and this is the piece most everybody ruins it on, you do this at night, after full dark or first gray of morning before the sun's up. Not the afternoon, never the afternoon. Why? 2 reasons, and they both matter. 1, at night the whole colony is home, all of them down in that hole. In the daytime, half of them are out foraging, scattered across your yard, and you'll never get those. 2, in the dark they're calm, and they can't see to come at you the way they do in daylight. Then pour. You walk up soft. You take that whole bucket and you pour it straight down the hole, all of it in a good steady flood right down the opening. Don't sprinkle it, flood it. You're filling their whole house with soapy water while they're all in it, and then you step back. You don't stand over the hole admiring your work. You pour, and you move away, and you let it do the job. It doesn't kill them the instant it touches. It's drowning, remember. It takes a minute. So give it the night. Come morning, that nest is dead and quiet. The botch on the timing, and this is the big one, folks get impatient and go at it in the daytime. Or worse, they stand there and spray at the ones flying, like it's a can of poison. And that's exactly backwards. Spraying a few in the air don't kill the nest, and it makes every one of them come up fighting. That's how the fella in my cold open got stung 50 times. He went at it in daylight, from the top, like he was spraying poison. It's not poison, it's drowning. And you can't drown what won't hold still and won't come home. Night. Down the hole. All at once. Now, the old-timers had their own ways at a ground nest, and I'll tell you them, because they're worth knowing. But I'll tell you plain not to do either one. Some poured boiling water down the hole, and it works, same idea, floods them out, the heat on top of it. A neighbor of mine did it that way his whole life. But think it through, friend. You're carrying a bucket of scalding water across a dark yard up to a nest that's fixing to come alive. And if one of them finds a gap and stings you and you flinch, that boiling water's coming down on your own leg. That's a burn that'll put you in worse shape than the stings ever would. So I don't do it. Cold water and soap kills them just as dead, and cold water can't scald you. And some old boys, the reckless ones, poured a can of gasoline down the hole. Kills them, sure. It also soaks your ground with poison for years, and one spark and you've set your whole yard afire with you standing over it. Don't. Not ever. And here's the thing. It's near the whole point of this table. The old ways aren't always the safe ways. Our people did some things because it was all they had, and some of it was a fine way to get hurt. My job here isn't to hand you the old way and let you scald yourself proving it. It's to give you the part that works, the drowning, and leave the fire and the boiling water back in the past where they belong. Cold water, a good slug of soap, down the hole, in the dark, safe as it gets, and just as dead to them. One hard thing, said plain, one time. A yellowjacket is not a bee. I said it at the top, and I'll say it again because it's the thing that matters. That smooth little stinger of theirs don't tear out, so one wasp stings you over and over, as many times as it likes. And the sting isn't just a hurt. For some folks, it's deadly. There's people, 1 or 2 in 1,000, whose body goes haywire from it, can't breathe, and they can die, fast, if they don't get help. The doctors don't mince words on that one. And even a man who's not allergic, if he takes enough stings at once, it can turn his heart and his blood pressure wrong. So, if you do this, you do it suited up, after dark, and you have a way to get away. And if you're allergic, you don't do it at all. Hear me on that. Let me tell you how I know the night part. First nest I ever went after. Grown man. Should have known better. I did it wrong. Middle of the afternoon. I'd mixed my soap and water, felt clever about it, and I marched out there in broad daylight and started pouring. And about half a second in, I understood my mistake. Because half that nest was out in the yard behind me, and the half that was home came straight up out of that hole and found every gap in what I was wearing. I got stung, I don't even know, a lot. Dropped the bucket, ran like a fool, swatting the whole way. That evening, an old neighbor, gone now, he heard about it, and he didn't laugh at me, much. He said, "Elias, you wait for dark. They're all home and they're all sleepy, and they can't chase what they can't see. Pour it once, in the dark, and walk away." Did it that night. Come morning, nothing. Dead and quiet. I never forgot it. The soap was right. My timing was near the death of me. So here's that last piece I held back. The one that decides whether you kill the nest or the nest gets you. It's the when. The soap is the easy part. Everybody can figure the soap. The piece nobody tells you is that it only works at night, poured all at once, straight down the hole. And the reason is that word from the very start. It's drowning, not poison. Think about what drowning means. You have to get the water to every one of them at the same time. Poison you can spray around and let them carry it home. Drowning you can't. There's no drowning half a nest. So you have to catch them when every last one is home in the hole and holding still. And that is only the dark. Do it in daylight, and you've drowned a handful and declared war on the rest. That's the whole secret. That's why the man got hurt and you won't. Night. All at once. Down the hole. So there it is, quick. Watch of an evening, find the hole. Make sure it's a ground nest, not a wall. Make sure you're not allergic. Bucket of water, a good slug of any dish soap, make it sudsy. Then wait for full dark. Walk up soft, pour the whole thing straight down the hole in one flood, and step back. Let it be till morning. Not the daytime, ever. Not spraying at the flyers. Down the hole, in the dark, all at once. That's the whole thing. But this was never really about wasps, friend. You know that by now. It's about a hole opening up by your door and you not being helpless in front of it. Not reaching for the phone, not writing the check, not waiting 3 days for a man with a truck. Just knowing, the way your grandfather knew, that you can handle what your own piece of ground throws at you, with a bucket and a thing from under the sink. That's the real thing on this table, not the wasps. It's you, not being helpless. That's all it ever was. Now let me be square about what this is and isn't. This is for a ground nest you can reach, done at night, by somebody who isn't allergic. It is not for a nest deep in your wall. That's a real job for a real professional. It's not for a big hornet nest hanging up in a tree. And it is not for you if you're allergic or don't know. I'll say that a third time and not apologize for it. Know your own situation. And it's not for honeybees, ever. Soap kills them too, and we need those. A honeybee swarm you call a beekeeper. They'll come get 'em for free and glad to. So here's your one thing this week. Easy one. Put a bottle of dish soap out in the shed or the garage. Just set it there. So that the day the ground comes alive by your door, you've already got your killer standing ready, and you're not running to the store getting stung on the way. That's it. Be ready before you need it. And tell me down below, did you people have a way? Boiling water down the hole? A shovel and a prayer? Something I've never heard? Tell me. The one that gets the most comments is the one I go dig into next. 'Cause here's where we're headed. Those fat black bees drilling holes in your porch rail and your barn siding, the carpenter bees. There's an old way to stop them and a cheap way to fix what they've bored, and most folks do the one thing that makes it worse. I'll tell you the right way next time. Don't let the old days go, friend.